Every letter makes a sound. The A says, and the B says, the B says, every letter makes a sound. The B says,
Ang
the
malikot.
C says, the C says, every letter makes a sound. The C says, the D says, the D says, every letter makes a sound. The D says, the E says, the E says, every letter makes a sound. The E says, the F says, the F says, every letter makes a sound. The F says, the G says, the G says, every letter makes a sound. The G says, the H says, the H says, every letter makes a sound. The H says,
Sabayan mo.
the I says, the I says, every letter makes a
Sit
sound.
down ka
The
dito.
I says,
Nahihilo ako sa iyo. Oh, sabayan mo lang. Oo,
J
sit down.
says, the J says, every letter makes a sound. The J says, K. The K says, the K says,
Sabay.
every letter makes a sound. The K says, the L says, the L says, every letter makes a sound. The L says, the M says, the M says, every letter makes a sound. The M says, the N says, the N says, every letter makes a sound. The N says, but the O says, the O says, every letter makes a sound. The O says, the P says, the P says, every letter makes a sound. The P says, now let's review. The Q says, the Q says, every letter makes a sound. The Q says, the R says, the R says, every letter makes a sound. The R says, the S says, the S says, every letter makes a sound. The S says, the T says, the T says, every letter makes a sound. The T says, the U says, the U says, every letter makes a sound. The U says, the V says, the V says, every letter makes a sound. The V says, W.
When I play it over here, the room, it starts to shake. In my ear, what I found is the sound that you make. What,
Wow! This learning other stuff is fun. Thanks.
You are welcome, don't you know?
It's time for us to go.
This lesson, it is through.
What is W? W.
The X says, the X says, every letter makes a sound. The X says, the Y says, the Y says, every letter makes a sound. The Y says, lullaby.